Ipswich 0, Arsenal 4. I'm here with my guy Turkish. Now Turkish, fairly conclusive, fairly easy, fairly rudimentary. Yeah.
Yeah, light work. Yeah, that's it. That's what you want after what we did to Real at the Bernabeu. Fill your boots a little, players on the fringes, get some minutes in, and give Arteta something to think about.
Was it us riding that Champions League win wave, or were Ipswich bad, poor, or was it a combination of both, do you think?
Both. I'd say a combination of both. Ipswich resigned to relegation and us, further life into this season that looked like it was dwindling a few weeks ago. So I think accumulation of both has led to the result today. 4-0, emphatic, deserved, and yeah, bang on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we looked good from the start. Made a fast start, dominated. We could sense a goal was coming, and it wasn't long before it come, and we never looked back from there. Who impressed you today?
Trossard, I think 2 goals, obviously starting up top. That helps. 2 good finishes. Mourinho in the 8 I think that's probably when starting in the 8 his best performance for us so far in his short Arsenal career. And aside from that, everyone. I mean, Kivior had another good game. He didn't have to deal with much, but he had another good game. Zinni came in, probably went under the radar. Really had a chance to see Lewis Skelly in midfield as well, which I think was all right, refreshing. Martinelli got a goal, adds to his goal at the Bernabeu. Kicks on. Hopefully, he has the same end of the season he had 2 years ago, where me and a lot of us were calling him the best player we had that season. Because if he does, then he's going to be an important asset for us against PSG both legs and hopefully a final. And yeah, I mean everyone played their part really. One down point, we'll probably get onto that shortly, but everyone played their part and impressive win.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the manager made quite a few changes, and like you said, everyone played well. Trossard, like you mentioned earlier, 2 goals. He's looking sharp, looking good. A possible option up top if the manager chooses it when we play PSG in a couple of weeks' time.
Could be, but I think Mourinho deserves his place up top. I think he's grown into that role as the 9. He started off producing in terms of goals and an assist here and there, and I think as the weeks have passed, he's become more complete in terms of performance over the 90 minutes. He's adding more than just finishing to that role. So I think he's done enough to deserve it. Both legs against Real, he was key as well. Let's not forget that. So yeah, I think Trossard has given the manager something to think about, but it's also refreshing to have someone score 2 goals, knowing that in a week's time, whether Mourinho starts or Trossard starts, we've got something off the bench to give if need be.
And as Arsenal fans, we're all conscious about injuries. We've suffered a few injuries this season. So when Saka goes down after that challenge in the 32nd minute, I'm sure, like me, you were worrying about that. I mean, thankfully, he seems to be okay. But tell me about that challenge from Davis on Saka.
Yeah, it's a bad challenge. Down the Achilles, late. Didn't really have much chance of getting the ball, but it's one of those ones where you leave one in, and he left one in. It was too high. And to be honest, as much as you say, it looks like we've got away with that one, or he's got, Saka's, he's all right. It's hard to say. I think off the back of that, next couple of days there'll be a bit more pain, bruising, and so on. It'll be interesting because we've got Palace, and then we've got a week break, and you don't want players to be too stiff going to that PSG game, but you also need to protect our prized assets because we've already got one down going into the Champions League semis in Gabriel as a prized asset that we can't call on. So Saka is someone that, like you said, you don't want to see him going down. He gets kicked every single game. He's robust, but this season we've seen that he's human after all. But whilst being human, you could also see the effect it had on us without him being in the side, and the effect it has on us him being back in the side. So it's worrying. I think Ranieri starts against Palace, and if Saka's all right, you give him 15-20 at the end. But yeah, I mean, it's not a good sight. Ice on the ankle or Achilles after. He should have probably come off straight away. I'm not too sure why Arteta does that. Like, just take him off. There was probably an argument to start Ranieri in this one and then start Saka at Palace against Palace because it's a home game. There's a week break before PSG. Now I'd say the other way around. Now you've got to protect Saka a bit before Palace and just hope that the next 10 days that he can shake off what happened today and hit the ground running again.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I can understand where the managers come from in a way. You do want to protect the players, but at the same time, you're trying to play him into form, like his top form.
Yeah.
And he's missed a lot of games, so he's still on the way back, really.
He was good as well.
He was,
And I
yeah.
haven't mentioned Odegaard yet, but Odegaard was sharp. Probably the sharpest performance I've seen from him in a long time. I can't even remember the last one. Faded as the second half went on. Obviously, the low block and Ipswich and 10 men, they had to do what they had to do. But I think credit. I have to mention him because over the last few weeks I've been mentioning him in terms of how disappointing he's been. So today, refreshing, sharp. He looked like he was a bit more on it in that final third. Kick on Palace, another one, and then the big one, Odegaard. Because as much as I feel like off the ball against Real, he played his part, on the ball, we know we can get better from him. So the more he can kick on and get these minutes and get better performances under his belt, the better for us.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he did look sharper today, and he was doing a bit more in the final third, which is where you want to see him. You're right, you can't argue with the pressing and the energy and the commitment. But the quality in terms of the final third, you want a bit more from him there. I thought he looked sharper today. Hit the post in the second half. Probably dipped a little bit towards the second half. Could have been because the game was like, it is what it is, isn't it? Like, the game was panning out. We won fairly comfortably by then. So he probably wasn't going crazy. But I thought he definitely looked a lot better. So
unlucky not to score as well, actually.
Yeah,
he did.
Hit the post.
And you want that to go in because I feel like that is a hump he needs to get over. Because a common theme this season is his ability to shoot once getting into positions. And I look back 2 years ago, for example, that West Ham game when we were 3 down or a couple goals down, and he bangs one from outside the box, and so he has got it in him.
Definitely.
But I just feel like psychologically there's been a mental barrier there because of a dip in performance. So that would have been nice to nestle in. But also coming that close, it also gives you a little something. He didn't score, but listen, you came close. Go again next time round.
Yeah. And it's nice to see Butler Deji come on. He had a little contribution there with shot and goal, produced a great save by the keeper. And of course, Wanyeri comes on and scores a goal. That's good for him as well, although it was deflection, but he still goal. Still does his confidence no end of good, yeah?
Yeah. Hopefully it is his goal because I've got him in my fantasy team. So if it's not, I'm gonna be upset about that. But it deflected a few times. He got his goal. Like I said, probably unfortunate not to start, but I expect him to start against Palace. So we'll see how that one goes.
In terms of the Palace game then, how do you think the manager will approach that? Do you think he'll play a similarly strong side, or do you think he might go wholesale rotation? What would you prefer him to do?
A mix. Again, I'd be starting Partey for sure. Missing that first leg, obviously. Declan Rice, interesting one. He's a machine. But, we said that about Saka and some people said that about Havertz, and then injuries and, we can't say the same. So I'd probably protect Rice a little, even though there's a week off that game. I'll be starting Partey, but then because Jorginho's out as well, does Mourinho start again? Maybe it's Partey, Mourinho, Odegaard against Palace, or do you protect? I don't know. He's going to have to rotate somewhat because there's a lot of positions where we're one injury away from quite a drop in quality or experience. Saka's one of those. Even Odegaard's one of those. Rice is definitely one of those. Saliba's definitely one of those. Timber, Lewis. We are one injury short in a few positions of really being in a very bad place. Not that we haven't been at times this season already. So rotate, but we've also got a week before that game. So like I said, you don't want to go in stiff.
And where do you stand on the second place debate? I mean, there's a few Arsenal fans saying they're not too concerned about finishing second. There are others, and I must admit, I'm in that school of thought that say, look, let's go for second. The challenge, the title challenge in itself has been somewhat disappointing, but I think personally we owe it to the fans, the whole club, to try and finish as high up the table as possible. Or do you think it's just all about the Champions League from here on in?
It's all about the Champions League. Second, third, it is what it is. You're the first loser or the second loser. At the end of the day, as harsh as it sounds, that's what it is. We've learnt that. If you are a young fan, you've learnt that the last couple of years. As great as a season can feel during it, if you finish second, you don't really look back on it with that, glimmer in your eye. Yeah. So second, we're there. Newcastle lost. Forest have been, messing about. I think we'll get second. I think at worst we'll get third. But second or third, forget about that. Champions League is where the eyes are at. Yeah, so really, it's not even a bigger fish to fry thing because I don't think there's no fish in the league to fry. You know, our fish is over there in Europe. So we've got to just focus on that and protect players for that. And in the league, use it as a chance to maybe get Nwaneri more acclimatized to the first team and Premier League rigor and action and whatnot. Not that he hasn't been this season already, but, you know, he's someone I'm looking at to protect Saka a bit for the European games. So, yeah, Premier League, second, third, Champions League, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the manager is using these games as a way of looking at some of the options that might present itself. We saw Zinchenko come in today. He did well. I mean, listen, these are guys that, if called upon, they need to be in a position where they can impact the game. So it's good to see these guys getting minutes. But yeah, I agree. It's all important, the Champions League now. Although I still maintain that finishing second is a lot better than finishing third or fourth. So yeah, that's where I stand on that. But for that Champions League game, PSG, how confident are you that we can get through them and get to the final?
More confident against PSG than I was Real, but that's what that Real performance does, or both performances do. They'll have threats. I mean, I said it on the watch along. Any one of the teams left in the Champions League now will feel they can do it. Any one of them, if they do it, it's understandable. Whether it's Inter, Barca, PSG, or us, I think we've all got a shot to win it, and be rightful winners of it. But against PSG, I think, you know, having played them already, I know they're a different team. Kvaratskhelia has joined them. Dembele's form, you know, at the turn of the year has grown to a place where he's coming up to conversations of Ballon d'Or at times in the last few months. But the way we dismantled Real Madrid. Now, listen, Luis Enrique, in my opinion, tactically, he's a better manager than Ancelotti. Ancelotti's he's a legend, but you know, he's old school as well. And football's moved into a direction where tactically you've got to just be, you know, on point. And I think Enrique's got that over him. So I think tactically it'll be a tougher game than it would have been against Real. They've got their threats. But the way we played against Real in terms of nullifying all of their options, I think PSG have more magic than us, but Real have more magic than us. We just didn't give them a chance to be magic. So I think, you know, perform at that level again over 2 legs. I think, you know, after the first, we'll be pretty confident again. But like I said, PSG, quality players, quality team. They got depth on the bench. Doué can come on and do something. Their midfield is press resistant. They've got quality there. Now, their fullbacks, quality fullbacks, Mendes and Hakimi, but they love attacking. So, you know, for Martinelli and Saka, I think that's an opportunity there. Similar to how, you know, Martinelli took his at the Bernabeu. Yeah, I'm 60-40, I'd say I'm confident that we get through. 60-40.
Okay, you set that up nicely. Thanks.